Hi, my name is Omid Dariani. I'm the Senior Brand Manager for the EverQuest franchise. Welcome to the Roundtable. With me today is Michael Mann, who is the lead combat designer for EverQuest Next and Landmark.
Hello, everyone.
Today we're talking about the death penalty, which is always a sad topic.
Definitely a sad topic.
No, we're talking about an MMOs though, right?
Oh.
Which is a little, no, it's nice. Yeah.
It is nice, yeah.
Michael has a very nice smile, I've been told. So we're talking about the death penalty in MMOs, and I think it's really important to say that this is probably the earliest in the design process we've ever asked a roundtable question.
Yeah, for sure. We are really at the beginning. It's the ground floor or whatever, right? It's just super early in the process.
Right. So this question was really about kind of seeing where the community was and what people think about death penalties in general. And I think we used it to kind of come up with a set of guidelines for how we're going to develop death penalty and where we're going. So we'll revisit this in the future, but we don't have a definitive answer for you right at the moment.
Yeah, but we wanted to start conversation with you guys and amongst ourselves about how we want to see the death penalty and the death mechanic roll out, right? We have reviewed your guys' posts and looked all over the place. We read Reddit and the EverQuest Next forums and found all sorts of cool ideas. And we think that this is a good way to get conversation going. For instance, there was a person on Reddit that talked about different death penalties based on the way you died, which is actually a really cool thought, and it's a good conversation starter for this whole process. And so
yeah, I think everyone was really excited about that one.
Yeah.
The thing I took away from the conversations that I read is how subjective the death penalty is.
Yeah.
Like, what is a painful game-ending death penalty for one person is nothing to someone else.
Yeah, it's super subjective. So what causes somebody to not want to die, or make somebody unhappy or happy or whatever in the mechanic has been really all over the place, and that's pretty standard, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so getting back to the core of it, why do we put death penalties in MMOs in the first place?
Sure. So we have death penalties mainly for risk versus reward, right? We want people to go out and risk something. That we want them to feel danger and caution, and that creates excitement in the game world. And also we want people to respect the rules of the world, right? We don't want people running and jumping off cliffs and just running in areas and just dying for the fun of it to see what's going on, right? We want them to feel like they're in there, they're playing their character, and they're excited about it, right? So
definitely. So we were talking about that we've started to come up with guidelines for what we think EverQuest Next death penalty should look like.
Penalty sounds terrible.
It's going to be a dental penalty.
It's difficult to say as well. So
yeah. But guidelines for what the death penalty should look like. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So one thing that we talked about a lot actually is preventing what we call a negative feedback cycle, or a situation that you can get into where you go out and you fight something and it doesn't work out so well, you die, and then you're less powerful than you were when you went to fight in the first place. And what happens frequently with this sort of mechanic is that you go, you die, and you come back to kill something, and you can't kill it because you're less powerful, and it creates a negative situation where really you're not having a lot of fun. You might have really awesome experiences or memories for things that had happened in this sort of situation, but frequently it ends in frustration. So it's one of the main things that we want to avoid. We also have a goal to have a viable solo option, so that people can go out and they can, if they go and they make a mistake or they misjudge something, that they're able to recover from that in some manner. And since we're building a social game, we want you to be excited to see people and to group people with people and play with them. And so we want more people than the standard MMO to be able to help you out if you've died. And so those are kind of the three guiding principles that we're having at this point. So
cool. So before we wrap up, were there any comments on the thread that were particularly interesting to you?
Yeah, there were a couple. So I mentioned the guy from Reddit, and then also Sylogy had a really good post that presented multiple options that seemed to be pretty well thought out, and it was interesting to read. And so we encourage people to make posts like these and to get in there and join the conversation, because it really is interesting, and it's good to have dialogue. So
yeah, I always like Sylogy's posts, and I've heard multiple people in the office specifically bring them up, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
So, I mean, like we said, we're going to be revisiting this in the future, probably next year. I would say early next year, as we get a little further into the design process. Right now, what you guys can do to help us the most is, considering the parameters that Michael laid out, how does that affect what you think death penalty should look like in EverQuest Next? So thank you guys again for your time. We really appreciate your feedback, and we'll see you next time on the Roundtable.